What is up, YouTube? Today it's going to be cool. We're going to do another helmet today, and this one's going to end up being it's going to have an American flag theme on one side, and it's going to have the Mexican flag on the other side, and a name on the back. So this is going to be kind of cool. We're going to merge it together, kind of make it look kind of neat. There's not going to be any cracks in this one, but we are going to kind of tape off, and where the blue is going to be on the American, and some of the red stripes and white stripes, as well as tape off for the red and the green stripes on the Mexican flag, and then paint in the eagle, the coat of arms of the eagle, snake, and the cactus, and then obviously some stars and stuff on the other side. The name will be on the back when we get to that part. But anyway, if you don't know what the prep is, watch the other videos. It's the same prep as always. Degrease it, scuff it, degrease it again, and then spray an adhesion promoter on there. Okay, so now what we've done is basically taped off. We're going to do a half and half kind of theme. So this is going to be where the American flag blue is going to go, and then we'll tape off the stripes, and then we'll put the stars on and go from there. And then we'll tape the rest of the stuff off for the Mexican side when we're done. Kind of give it a little bit more shadow, a little bit in some spots. Now what we've done is we've just taped off where the red stripes are going to go. We'll start off back here first and just kind of get a little bit of we know we're going to have some white highlights on some of this, so we're kind of allowing those to hopefully fall where they may. Now we're just going to start throwing some shadows of some waves on this flag as we kind of come up a little bit and kind of get a little darker shadows. Idea of the fold and the flag, and you don't have to, I mean, this again, you don't have to be perfect with some of this, but no, like when they're going to have some white highlights on here too, and it kind of brings everything together. So you come in, you can kind of give some of the folds are sharper creases than others, other more subtle, but it's just like some wrinkles. So, you know, let it flow. You know, like Bob Ross, there's no accidents. This is, you know, however they line up, you can just make them however you want them. And knowing, like, so you want to kind of keep in, like, this might be a little wrinkle up into here, or the shadow, so it might fall down in here, might be a little more, and then coming back up on this side. Now the name is going to come from this side, so that's all we're going to do. And then we just kind of give it that little subtle effect of just some wrinkles and folds in there. Now, we're also going to bring in the red, and this little, anything that's on the helmet will cover some of this stuff up as well. But the red will come down, and then we'll bring in some of those shadows into that red. And then when we come back in with the white as the final highlight, it just ties everything together, and it just makes it look like it's really a three-dimensional helmet. So it's kind of cool. Okay, so now what we're doing is basically we're going to add the coat of arms on the Mexican flag. And then when I get this centered up of where it's going to be on the white, then I'll draw my lines for my green and my red band, or my the stripes. So now I'm just kind of, this is a little stencil I've cut out with the coat of arms. And we're just going to kind of render it in a little bit. We'll have some brown on that, and we'll also have a little bit of gold for the beak and for the feet. We're going to come back after we're done rendering this in, and we'll come in and freehand a lot more stuff in there. And as long as you keep your air flowing and kind of keep a straight-on approach, some of these little bitty pieces on the stencil will stay kind of in place. And we're going to come back in with some shadows with the stencil where each end of the feathers are going to be. We'll kind of come back in and we'll render those as we go along. This just kind of gives us a reference point to start and where things are going to line up. I'm going to go ahead and take some gold now and kind of put in where the beak will go and kind of where the legs, and then we'll detail those out a little bit as well. This is a little bit a light brown here, kind of give us a little bit of, not even sure what that is, what he's on, like some type of, that'll be a little lighter. And then we'll go ahead and we'll clean that brown out. And get some yellow in there. We'll put in the claws. And be careful with this yellow paint is very, very thin. And sometimes you get a little overboard and kind of throw it out there and it'll spider on you. Just kind of giving that reference. And that'll be green, and then these little flowers here will be pink. Okay, just adding in a little bit of the green. Sorry about that, I didn't have it recording. And we're going to just do a little light shade for the flowers that are in here, and we'll kind of come back and highlight those a little bit. Kind of give a reference to where those flowers will be. We'll come back in and dot on the top the reference to give a reference of what those are. Hard edge on the brown, and a little bit of a curve effect coming this way with the brown on that side. That little section in there. Sound like a bunch of seagulls. Light blue. Blue under here. Something to follow of the flag, so not the olive green. Will not be an olive green. That'll have to be different. Cool part about paints and colors, I mean, you know, when you're mixing colors, I mean, you don't mix sometimes what you think would obviously be the colors you would use. Like when you're doing skin color, skin tone, I mean, you got red, you got blue, and you got some white as a base, and you put in what you don't think you would ever use for skin tone, and then it brings out a beautiful skin color. This is kind of like a skin tone to start with as a base. That's got red, blue, yellow, and white. And you would never know that. I mean, if you're not thinking about how color works. All right, and I think I'm going to go ahead and just give it a little bit more basic green on the snake, lightly. Just kind of give it a little bit of depth. Kind of even depth. When you cut out everything, you save all your parts, and that's what I've got here. And so what I will do is I can go ahead and cut this little piece right here off and cut these little individual feathers. And then when I lay them up here, I can put that where it needs to go, lay them in, and then use that as a shading and shadow. And that gives me my eagle depth that I want. Okay, so now what I've done is I have cut the stencil for the eagle, and you basically are cutting where the reference is going to be for the shadow underneath, and each one of these is going to fold back as a layer. And I'll just kind of come in with some black to kind of render this, and you know, we'll come back in as we need to kind of line it up. But that's kind of where we want that to go. Make sure everything's lined up where we need it. Give us our reference points and just kind of give that little hint of shadow underneath that feather. Lay the next one down, shade in the feather. Lay the next one down and shade in the feather so that'll come up. And then when that's down, we'll give it a little bit of a hint of where that's supposed to go there. I'm going to hold that because it's going to get that little piece up there that kind of gives it a little bit of a mark. So we'll get that reference in there. And then once we come down, we got a kind of a wing of what we're going to be. And now we're going to come back in and further detail some of that stuff. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and cut some of this off and bring that down to where that's going to go with some of these other feathers. But that's how we'll get that indication. And actually, I may just go ahead and cut on a separate piece of paper this particular image, and then use that as a layer to get my eagle body and feathers down here on the end. And we just kind of taped off where the red and the blue are going to meet. We're kind of giving it some depth with some of the wrinkles. We're going to be coming back in with some black and, well, gray, a light color black, and we're going to come in with some white to give the highlights of these wrinkles. And we'll blend the white and some more of the black in with the blue and the red, and that'll kind of hopefully give it a seamless appearance. But it'll kind of mesh together a little bit for what we want, the effect that we want. See how that looks. Gives us the effect we're going for. But we need to take this off first. And keep the tape whenever you can. That way you're able to kind of go. Kind of gives us a little bit of the red side of the Mexican flag as we're coming around. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go ahead over this side and we'll do the green. We get it kind of already taped off, but I'm going to go ahead and mesh this piece over here and tape it off down, and I'm going to fade it in. And when we put the name Ricky on the back, it'll come together. So now we're going to kind of tape off and get the green ready to go. Light coats, nice and easy, nice and light. It kind of gives you a shade and effect of what we're going for. Some darker. We kind of give the idea of the green, the red, and the Mexican flag, and then we're going to bring in some shadows and shading. Detail this eagle obviously is not done yet, but I wanted to go ahead because what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray some clear coat, a light coat of clear around some of this to set this stuff in, and then work on this eagle a little bit so I don't have to worry about things getting scratched and moving around. So that's kind of how we're going to do that. Bring them around, kind of let them blend in with the blue. And we're going to bring them down into the white as well. All right, and that just kind of gives the idea of some of the shadows and shading. Bring it in the eagle a little bit, kind of bring it in. And when we highlight with some white, we'll kind of give it a little bit more depth, but I'm going to work on this eagle a little bit and kind of detail that out a little bit more. So right now, this is kind of what we got. We got the American flag. There's going to be a name back here, so this is going to be covered up with the name. This will all be covered back up in white with the name Ricky. And we're going to incorporate the colors of both flags into the name, so it'll kind of blend. But there's kind of what the American flag portion looks like. It's got its shading and shadows. Come around to the Mexican as it kind of blends around to the Mexican side, and that's pretty sweet, pretty cool. And I think they'll be happy. So, man, keep forgetting to hit that record button. Okay. They want it in a, excuse me, they want it in a graffiti style, kind of big. And one thing about, again, what I say in all the videos, graffiti, there are a lot of great graffiti artists that really do a phenomenal job with graffiti. And some of the graffiti that it's hard to read. So there are certain aspects to letters when you're doing graffiti that needs to be in a letter so people can recognize what letter it is. So like the R, you want to have that. An A would typically have, you know, when you have your inside of the A, and some of the legs of the letter need to come around to where you can read it. It doesn't, like on a K, as long as you have the points of the K and then coming around, this back here doesn't have to necessarily be there, because your brain will automatically know that that's a K. Y, there's certain things, but you know, as you come around, we're gonna put this in together, and then we'll go. And when we add depth to this, when we add shadows and more color, and then another outline around it, and when we make it pop with the white final outline, it'll really stand out. So right now, all I'm doing is building the letters, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to just fill this in with white, and then I'll come back and we'll show how we're doing some shadowing and different things. Okay, so now let those blend in. I mean, we could spend a lot of time detailing this thing out, and I think for what it is for a ball helmet, it blends in with some green, some red, ties it in together with all the different colors. So we basically have the Mexican-American flag blended together to be that one kind of coming together kind of thing. So now what we're going to do is going to go in with some highlights of white and basically highlight some of the folds. Then once we're done with that, we're good. All right, so we'll throw in some of these white highlights on the folds. Kind of comes together with that. Just a little bit on the side. We'll bring it down into the red here. A little bit on this side, coming up in that red. And down with some red. With the blue or white. We don't want to, I mean, we really got to highlight our white. That's where it's going now. But coming together like this will definitely highlight. A little bit. All right, we will call that done. All right. There we go. So, didn't turn out too bad at all. Good deal.